Shobna. So I love Instagram. A lot of people love Instagram, and her photos on Instagram from her pastry shop are unbelievable. You can stare at it every day, and you're like inspired, and you look at what happens around the city, and so many things inspire us. But just look at what she puts on Instagram of the cake she makes and desserts every single day. It's beautiful. And so she has started up her boutique, I don't know how, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess now, in Cole Harbour. It just recently made a little change. It was previously a tea salon, and you would sit down, and a lot of people would sit there, but she needed the space because she was getting so many orders for her cake, she couldn't produce, didn't have enough space to produce. So, great solution. Make a change of your place, get rid of all the seats, and your customers are still coming. They're just coming and ordering and taking it to go, and now she has space for production and everything. So that was a great way of doing it. So let's hear from Shobna. So welcome.
So thank you for having me today. Following this great lineup, I do resonate with a couple of chefs here from backgrounds where our families are all about, we have sacrificed everything so that you can have the luxury of dreaming to become a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. That was it. That was your path. This is how you do it. I will provide you with everything you need. A reading lamp, some extra tuition, coffee to stay up late, whatever you need. This is the path you need to follow. So unlike a lot of chefs that we know from these sort of backgrounds, I am Indian of origin, but I'm from Malaysia, and my family comes from a medical background, and I did not grow up in the kitchen at all. My mom chased me out of the kitchen and said, if you have a spare minute, go study. If you're done studying, do your homework. If you're done doing your homework, read the next chapter. So that when the teacher teaches you, you can put up your hand and say, I've already read that, I have questions for you. So that was the background we kind of grew up in. And it was, for them, sacrificing and working as hard as they did to give us what they didn't have and to make our lives easier. So I just have a few lessons to share that what made Soirette come about and how it came about. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is commitment. So I was in, engineering school in 1997, and for my second year, there was so much math, so much lab work, too much physics. My head was hurting all the time, and it was ridiculous. And I said, this is not me. I cannot do this. My brother's the glory child anyway. He's the firstborn, first son in med school. Why do I need to follow this? It's all right. So I was like, let's call mom and dad and let's just tell them just gently, I'm just pursuing other options. So I had to hold the phone about a foot away from my ear just to hear them say in, not so nice terms, what? Don't give up. You stick to it. How can you think of giving up? We have given out so much just to put you in this school and to pay for your tuition and to, be at a dorm. You have to stick to what you do and finish it. Just finish it. I don't care what you do later. Just finish it. I was like, fine. So now I have to go through another 3 years of engineering school, more lab work, more math, more physics. Sure, why not? Let's do this. But I had to make a few changes. So that came chapter number 2, which is finding your love. Somehow I had to make this more bearable for myself. So I had to move out of this big 500 student dorm with eating dormitory food. Barb, don't even get there about food nutrition or anything like that. It was just disgusting. And so I was in this little apartment, and there was this tiny kitchen. And I was like, what the hell? What do I do in this kitchen? I don't know. I know how to boil water, make noodles. Every Asian does. Put an egg in it sometimes. That's healthy. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I turned to my best friend. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to come over and stay with you for a while because you have family here, your parents there, they cook for you all the time, and you have food. And she's like, no. Here's a cookbook. It's called Dollars and Cents, as in common sense. It's written by this wonderful New Zealand author called Alison Holtz. And it teaches young people how to, go out on their own,
start cooking, just with simple ingredients, with things that were not too expensive because we all spend money on drinking anyway. So you really had to be on this budget of your student budget, right? So you have like drinking money. Oh, look, I can fit an apple into my diet today. That's great. So I learned how to, slowly start making things out of, like pantry staples. And, with all this math and late night studying, I was craving for, some sweets because, I have a sweet tooth, can't you tell? So then I was like, oh, what do I have and what can I make now? Because in New Zealand 20 years ago, everything was closed at 5:30. You couldn't go out and, get ice cream like you can now. No way. So butter, sugar, and flour. Oh my God, shortbread at 2 a.m. warm out of the oven. I was like, this was phenomenal. How could these 3 ingredients make something that could make your heart sing? And why would people do, and then I understood why people would go crazy over things like shortbread, because I did. And so I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do late night studying because at 1:30, I'm going to see what I have in my pantry and make something. So suddenly I was studying just so that I could bake. And then I was baking too much and eating it all. Then I was like, oh no, I should take it to class. So then I took it to class. And suddenly it just started being this huge process of sharing love and sharing something that came out of a process of tangible love. And it was through food, and for me, through pastry. So I was like, this is great. I think this is what I want to do. Sure, I'll become an engineer, but then what? It's like, crap, how do I tell my parents? So this time comes lesson number 3, is creating your path. There was a long silence. So it's just no yelling, nothing, just silence. I was already a full-fledged engineer. I actually found my other love. In engineering school, he was, full nerd, loved engineering. That was his calling. I'm like, good for you, but it's totally not me. Now you have to help me tell my mom and dad. His parents were cool. He's like, I don't care what you do. But my parents, no way. There is no way. And she said, so, no more business suits? No more suitcase? No more lipstick? No more private phone? No more desk job? What are you thinking? It's like, have you lost your mind? You want to make cookies? She's like, you come home right now. I'll teach you how to make cookies in 2 weeks. Then you go back, you go to your job, you stick to your job, and you work, and you earn money, and you come home at 5 o'clock, and then you cook for your husband, and you make children, and then you just keep doing this for the next 20 years and pay off your house. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And Nilesh looked at me and he said, hey man, we're young, we got nothing much going on, we have no house, no money, let's travel. So I said, okay, let's try North America. Just for a year, we'll just go figure it out, see what happens, go to pastry school, and if I don't like it, I always have my engineering degree to fall back on. So that's what I did. 10 years later, we're still here, although we moved from Ottawa. And suddenly I found myself in a position where I knew that it was time to get this idea out of wanting to share something that was special, wanting to put some sparkle in someone's life just through a little bit of dessert. And it was not a linear process by any means. But even Van City thought I lost my mind. They were looking at me going, so you're making these cookies, the macaroons? And I no, they're macarons. They're quite different. They're like, yeah, but it's cookies and you want to sell tea and you're asking for a loan and you have just experience working, just in these few pastry shops and some hotel. Like, what are you thinking? And you're doing this on your own? I was like, no. My husband will, be at home working. I do have an entourage of, 2 people. But I will be running it, and at some point you will see that this is going to change how we do pretty desserts in Vancouver. And I don't know, she must have had a heavy lunch or something to drink, but she said yes. And I got my loan, and here we were opening up in 2012. So like Chef Lapina said before, 1 month became 3 months, 3 months became 6 months, and who was going to open on Christmas Day in 2011? So I had to push out the opening, and so we were paying rent, and we had staff, and we had no money, and we had a shop. So now came the fourth lesson into trying to find out how it is that you were going to narrow down and figure out what was vital and important to you and how you would honor Soirette and honor the customer at the same time. This was, a few years into the business. I was working, crazy hours. My parents still were not really there with me. They was like, so you've had your hobby, try and figure it out, give it up, and, start living a grown-up life, start wearing those suits again and start dressing up to go to work. I'm like, I'm quite comfortable in my clothes, thank you very much. But this was not the time to quit. This was the time to restructure, because my life was kind of falling apart a little bit. I was, I had a newborn, and it was, trying to balance family life and work life and being the good Indian wife that I thought my husband wanted, but it turns out that, he doesn't really care. I cared. That was the problem. The problem was that I was putting all this pressure on myself. So when I was at work, I was thinking about home. When I was at home, I was thinking about work. And every time I was trying to play with my kid, I was thinking about, oh my God, I got an Instagram right now. And it was just never quality time. And every time he looked at me, and he looked at me on my phone, and this was the turning point, he goes, Mom, do you have to be on your phone right now? That's when I realized something had to change. So my lease was up, and I was like, what do I do? I was ready to give up, because I was losing focus on all the three things I talked about. Commitment, I was falling out of love, and I could not figure out a way to create this path that I thought I was on. And then it dawned on me, I have to restructure, replan, figure out how to make this work so that I could serve my customers better by giving them the brand identity that I wanted Soirette to have. So this was bringing joy into people's lives. This was celebrating moments, big or small. This was creating that one chocolate cake that would make memories last. And this was about, our past wedding clients who now had babies of their own, and they were coming to us for christening cakes. And then they were having, 3-year-old, 4-year-old parties. They were having, other weddings. And we needed to figure out how we could make Soirette as memorable as we knew it could be. And then we decided to restructure the business, give us more freedom in the kitchen. We are able to produce more and be more efficient and love coming to work because we could breathe and not just walk all over each other and just say, excuse me, behind you, side you, the whole time. Because it was ridiculous. It was getting so crazy in there. And I was like, for what? We were in Cold Harbor. We were in quite a quiet neighborhood. And I needed to you needed to create another path. So when you do see, when you are creating your own path and you're sticking to your course and you're trying to ignore the little fishes around you, breathing in, things like, oh no, if it's not that great, why didn't you just do something else? You have some education, you can try something new. But inside, if you know that this is what you were supposed to do, and this is what you want Soirette to be, and everyone who's worked with you and everyone who's working with you at this little store, which are all here today, by the way, they need to feel like they belong to something special. And I feel like we have something special. So to translate that feeling to them, to translate that vision that you have when they come to work and they work on, beautiful desserts that taste good, desserts that they know that they're cracking eggs, all day to make this so that when it comes to you, you know the amount of love that has gone into it. You can feel the amount of love that has gone to your celebration, to your table, to your dessert, to your dinner party. Like that was what Soirette was supposed to do. And I feel like we are finally there. It's been 6 years actually, Richard, now. And I think we've passed that hump and we are able to now be an integral part of our customers' lives. We are able to give back. We actively support charities like Make-A-Wish Foundation, BC Women's and Children's Hospital. We support Canadian Cancer Society, which raised $7,000 on a cake that Arlene had made to auction off this year. Last year, the cakes, auctioned for $4,500. I can't do this on my own. You need a team. You need people who believe in your vision, and you need the people who love your vision and who understand why you are here, and people who support small business. And in Vancouver, thankfully, we have found those people. And even through the Hot Chocolate Festival this year, when we made the Tipsy Unicorn, we supported Project Chef. And we're actually going to be part of Project Chef next spring, which is fantastic. And this is how, we start finding our way and creating our path in the community through commitment, perseverance, and if people are telling you to give up because it's to take the easier way, and in your gut, if it's telling you that it's not, but it's just hard and you have to push through, because there's always light at the end of that, because it is something you believe in, and that is the most powerful thing. It is about you bringing your power and you bringing your magic and sharing it with everybody, right? And at the end, I think that's what pastry is for me. Yeah, thank you.